See No Evil, starring... Kane, is WWE Films' first major film and what looks like their only horror entry where a wrestler is headlining the film. And this was pretty big for the WWE. I vividly remember first seeing the trailer for this thinking, is that Kane? Because the only wrestler I had seen on the big screen up to that point was The Rock. Takuma Shente! You know the vibes. Don't mess with Maui when he's on a breakaway. That's Dwayne Johnson. This was The Rock. And don't worry, CGI Scorpion King can't hurt you. He's not real. That was a dream, baby. Go back to bed. I remember actually watching the promotional material for the premiere of See No Evil, with all the wrestlers' reactions, and rewatching it. Can we just take a second to appreciate the nostalgia here? For that little wrestling fan inside of me. We got Carlito, Trish, Kurt. Cena's Thugonomics accent is fading in and out right about now. And look! A young Batista. Look at that glint in his eye. He knew right there. He knew what he really wanted. Those toes belonged on a red carpet. The closest we would ever get to a Batista bomb again would be My Spy. Vince even took a break from being terrible to make a face. Would you look at that? It's that guy that put jumper cables on my son's balls. We got Big Show, Edge, Ray, Booker, JBL. See No Evil was a third of the trifecta on the horizon for WWE Films specifically, because it would be followed by The Marine, starring John Cena. Cena Evil, huh? Come on. Which I'm positive I watched this movie. I couldn't tell you a thing though. Here's a clip.
Osama bin Laden.
Is that it? That was fast. And then capped off with The Condemned, starring Steve Austin, which to this day, I haven't rewatched this in 17 years. I think I love this movie. Surely the critics are confused. It's gotta be good, right? Might even be great.
What?
Right? You ever notice how in horror movies people ignore the warning signs? The lights flicker, the walls creak, something feels off. And they brush it off until it's too late. They pretend they didn't hear it, didn't feel it. Because if you ignore it, it'll just go away, right? That's kind of like how we treat our health, isn't it? A weird ache, a cough that won't go away. Something just feels wrong, but we ignore it. We convince ourselves it's nothing until it isn't. But unlike a horror movie, you don't have to wait for things to get worse before taking action. And that's where today's sponsor, ZocDoc, comes in. A free website which you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and instantly book an appointment. I don't have a primary care doctor. There's probably one written down from like 20 years ago that gave me chickenpox before I got much older. The parents didn't tell me they were doing that. That was cool. So yeah, probably time to find a doctor who wasn't selected for me 2 decades ago. Luckily with ZocDoc, I can actually choose one that fits my needs now. There's in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across nearly every specialty, from dental health, eye care, skin care, and much more. You can also see individual doctors' ratings and reviews, which I very much believe in because I've had a phenomenal doctor tend to my daughter, and I was just so blown away at the care and patience that she showed. And I've also had the opposite. At the same location. You can filter doctors by location, insurance, rating, specialty, and also you can see their actual appointment openings. Choose a time that works for you and click to instantly book a visit. It really is that easy. No more surprise out-of-network bills, no more endless Google searches, just a few clicks and you can book an appointment, often within 24 to 72 hours. While looking around, I even found some same-day appointments with highly rated doctors that are close by. You don't even have to talk to anybody, just book with a few clicks. So take care of you and make health a priority. Go to ZocDoc.com/MistaGigi. Also linked in the description to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. Thanks again to ZocDoc for sponsoring. Now let's get back to the video. Kane plays a deranged serial killer roaming the decayed hallways of the abandoned Blackwell Hotel. A group of inmates pull up as a goodwill project of sorts where they can lessen their prison sentence little by little by helping restore the hotel to what it once was. And by that I mean really just tidying up a bit, because the top 2 floors of the hotel look like a Looney Tunes bomb went off. What the hell are Zoe and Kira gonna do about that? There was a whole ass fire here. The hotel's in ruins, probably not even safe to traverse, let alone stay at. But yeah, we should really clean this toilet. Pardon our dust. Let me introduce you to the gang. The Cutoff Crusader in the back. I guess that works. I suppose it's either that or a scene of an officer asking the warden, oh, so who am I all dealing with here? And he's just looking at a book, aka his script. Russell Wolf. Receive stolen property. Why is that the crime, by the way? What an oddly inoffensive crime to start us off on. If the next guy's tag doesn't say stole property, I think our actual criminal might still be at large.
Can we move it? How many more miles? Richie, please.
This movie's rated R. Here's a sentence I'll never say again. Yo, where all the rapists and pedophiles at? Richie Burnson put a gun in his hands. He's rather useless. But you give that boy a Hewlett-Packard? All right, I'm sorry. What's our criminal lineup so far? We got probably half of you watching and a Nigerian prince. What's next? Sex before marriage?
I found these condoms.
I was joking.
The mute spoke. Watch your ass, slut.
I don't understand the direction on these. That's the worst crime we have by far, and Christine gives us a yearbook pose. I don't believe you beat someone half to death, Christine. I should look at you and just start hearing DMX. I'm getting a lot of Kelly Clarkson. Breakaway, specifically.
They had their shots.
Warner? We already did that. Now look where she's at. She don't listen! Yo, what's the deal with cab fares nowadays, huh? This one at least makes the most sense because, then look, she's doing the thing. And she's clearly good at it. Sticky fingers. But that's enough about your mother. Hey, oh! Had I known marriage would have meant no more sex, I would have never proposed. Come on!
Dude, you better back up off.
So I could not take this man seriously the entire movie because this man just looks like evil David Dobrik to me. So basically, David Dobrik. Yeah, I beat you to the comment, dumbass. I'm just being a dick. You can comment farm all you want. I encourage it. I can't not see it. He looks like David. I think he even kind of sounds like him sometimes too.
Move me, boy. Eat me.
Both their names have alliteration. The black tea. It's a little weird.
What's up, Squeaker Twinker?
Fuck you, Mike.
Not possession. Did he say squeaker twinker?
What's up, Squeaker Twinker?
Squeaker twinker, little star. I think it's tweaker, by the way. I heard twinker first listen. Pretty sure it's tweaker, because that makes more sense because drugs.
What? I didn't do shit.
Now that's how you mug a camera, Christine. Take notes. None of that. Na-da-da-da-na-na. Na-na-na-na-na. And Melissa just adorably smiles at the camera.
Nice move, though.
Beautiful. Forgot we're watching a movie. By the way, she's here because she freed a bunch of dogs that were gonna get killed at the pound. So, deserved. So all of these hoodlums are, I guess, technically troubled youth. And I'm assuming that's why no one here has a really gnarly crime. And before working with these kids, there was Officer Williams. Fully intact edition. Here's what happened. Him and his partner investigate a disturbance with a damsel in distress. And his partner, wielding what looks like a gun, apparently doesn't even know what he signed up for. What the We've been getting calls. This woman appears hurt. Let me check this other room. What the fuck? Was there a bad guy here? So yeah, his partner's a dingo bingo, but Williams isn't exactly getting any medals either. Because he watches all of that, and then he lets Kane still stumble in and take a swing, chopping off his hand before he gets a shot off. But it's a good shot. Right through the dome. Pow! But then Kane just leaves.
That shit hurting.
And Williams calls for backup, thankful that Kane decided to chop off the hand with the flashlight instead. So we pull up to the Blackwell Hotel, and the group seems rather put off by the appearance.
What is this? Hotel Ghetto?
No, there was a fire. The hotel experienced a fire. I need to just start pulling up the crime scenes of arson, shuffling towards the family so I can remember ghetto. So here's the deal. Kira knows Michael because he used to pimp her out and beat her. She says he's the reason she's locked up. And I guess she ratted him out in return, which is weird because his little calling card didn't include promoting prostitution, but whatever. That's the crime pimping falls under in Illinois, by the way. Promoting prostitution. The same way arson might fall under preferring heat. Officer Williams is weird. And we never get to a point where that weirdness is explained away. Like he walks in on Kira and Christine smoking, and instead of doing the normal thing and shooting them. He takes a smoke and smugly leans in for a light, like fucking Travolta in Face Off when he's trying to bang Nick Cage's daughter, which is technically Travolta's daughter, and that's really Nick Cage via Travolta trying to bang her. It's a long story. He also finds Christine shortly after in the shadows, and he's leaned up against the wall talking about how she has the most potential, that he read through her files, so he knows what she's been through. And he speaks like this. He makes faces like this.
Glad you were cleared for this project, Christine.
And then that conversation flips, we go elsewhere. We never really return to that weird ass energy. He talks to the women's parole officer, whatever the hell she is, about saying yes to her fiance. And that's really it for our guy. I don't know, is he just supposed to be like sexy? His character's confusing to me. Maybe he's a big sex icon. Yeah, go ahead and tell me. I have no clue. Now, I do have a little bit of a... Then you got Dingo and Bingo. These two believe there's a treasure hidden in the hotel. If they can find the Blackwell safe, they're set for life, and they will somehow escape with said money. The problem is, as soon as they hit their first obstacle, Richie turns into a real yellow belly. And it's not even much of an obstacle, because this corpse isn't even really in the way. It's just a dead homeless guy with his eyes gouged out. Homie was just trying to stay warm for the night, and then Kane came over, and he was like, let me get those pupils off you real quick. Am I gonna say it? No, I'm gonna say it. Sclera change. That's so bad. This is supposed to be spare some change. Sclera change. I'm good. Is it rude to call him that, by the way? Homie. Like, I might as well just call him Housey. Richie runs off just at the sight of him, or lack thereof, and his cowardice makes him tonight's first victim. And when it comes to the kill, it's alright. He gets chain hooked by the leg and dragged away begging for help, as I believe Tyson mouths no. The forbidden back shot, and that's about it. See ya. Richie gets his eyes carved out later, but I don't really care, as you can tell. Now, this film does kind of suffer from the rare condition known as flashy whoosh whoosh. I don't know what the hell it was with like the 13 Ghost, Saw, Man on Fire type editing. I don't even know if that last one counts. My guess, it was cool. I mean, I guess I can't even really call it unnecessary for those movies specifically. Like, the glasses that allowed you to see the ghosts were a big deal, and that's where a lot of the flashing came from. So I'll use it as a tool for time quickly running out to induce a similar feeling of panic. We can still criticize it, but here, it's just kind of included. It's not used all that much, but it just feels like we're doing it to do it. The parole officer later goes to check on the commotion, and I was kind of excited for about half a second when I thought they were gonna feed us a good old-fashioned choke slam here. Cause I'm not above fan service. Especially when your demographic is almost undeniably going to be wrestling fans. Like, I remember vividly watching Fast 7 and seeing The Rock bottom Jason Statham. I got happy. I don't care. I know they're playing me like a fiddle. Play me. But he just raises her up, and then Heike looks like he drops her on accident. The elevator isn't closed for a bit, and I think they intend for this to appear quite brutal, like it's squishing her, even though we all know elevators don't do that. Maybe it's just supposed to be funny. Put in some boing sound effects would work great. Eventually, Tyson meets Christine and Williams after Kira is captured. Saying their names doesn't even feel like appropriate to me because these aren't fucking people. They all move out to find Kira, and Williams gets fish hooked immediately. And he's dead now, which I thought, personally, my opinion, was a little jarring for this guy. He's not really our main character, but he is. But he's not. We start the movie with him, staring into his traumatized soul as he pisses all over the seat. And I'm skipping ahead here, but this entire Operation Inmates Clean My Hotel, is a ruse by Granny. She's Kane's mom. And the main purpose, the only reason she does all of this, is to finish the job and kill Williams because he shot her son. Kane just has a hole in the back of his head, by the way. I don't know if he's like magical, a medical marvel, or he's just so strong that he can avoid infection to open wounds. But since that's the whole thing, it's kind of insane that they treat Williams like he's Richie. That's a slur, by the way. Just a quick boosh-gadoosh and...
Got him?
No, he didn't. So Kane keeps Kira alive because she has cross tattoos, I think, and Kane's religious. He's like, fuck with that shit, hell yeah. Kane's name in the movie is Jacob Goodnight, by the way. That sounds like a pastor. There's some good old Jacob Goodnight lore we'll get to, but is anyone else just rock hard right now? Kane interrupts a boing sesh between these two, and I don't know what Vegan Girl did to deserve probably the worst death here. Like, I bet when I was cycling the mugshots, you didn't think she would be deserving of the worst to come. While trying to escape with Russell, Russell does the honorable thing and says, all right, Let me tuck this thing to the side, 1 sec. He ties a fire hose around her to lower her to the atrium so she can escape. They're hiding, by the way. While doing this, Kane was just outside the door. Yet here they are, making all types of noise, yelling. Russell power bombs the hose to the ground to show her his idea. What are you? Just fucking point. That would have gotten the same. That would have still made sense to me. And this plan actually works for a while until, well, Russell dies. We don't even see it happen, but yeah. That doesn't look like Russell. Kane starts pulling her back up and can't reach her. I love how Kane's an absolute drooler 1 second, and then the next he's pendulum swinging a hook with the utmost precision. Like, have you guys ever played that little hook game at the bar? You try to get it on the thing? Exactly. My ass, Kane. Anywho, the vegan girl begs for him to let go, and what's Jacob Goodnight if not a gentleman? My lady. She crashes through the window, stabs her arm on the broken glass, and dangles as the doji comes over and licks up a little blood. I don't even think I've mentioned this is a stray doji in the hotel. That she was like, oh, she tried giving him food, and then, you know, it was a long story. But after the dog samples the wine, he calls up his posse, and she gets eaten alive by dogs. Take that irony, you bitch. Zoe's still alive, and you're correct, she won't be much longer. She tries her hand in a little hide and seek, but her cell phone rings, and it really sets Kane off because he has trauma. And possibly Amish. He makes her eat her phone, which is fun in theory. I don't know, something's missing here for me to really enjoy this. Like, what happened here? Gregory Dark, director of this film. This you? By the way, what an interesting director for this movie, because I've unknowingly seen this man's work. He used to make a lot of adult films when he first started out. I promise those sentences aren't related. Unfortunately, I wasn't alive yet to watch the premiere of Between the Cheeks 3. But Gregory actually went on to direct a lot of music videos for artists such as Linkin Park, Outkast, Britney Spears. When the fuck did she cover My Prerogative? Smiles and South Star? Tell me? Jesus, what a throwback. My brother loves this song. And then he directed this movie. And at least IMDb-wise, it kind of just tapered off. Now, I'm not blaming the movie for that, but it seemed like a rather sudden stop. Could be personal reasons, I won't speculate. Was just rather interested when I looked into who directed this and what they had done. Anyway, this is a great scene.
This looks like some kind of tripwire.
So here's the backstory you've been waiting for. Kane's mom stinks. She's hardcore overly religious and just wants to destroy all sinners. Growing up, she had Kane locked in a cage, and I guess that was good practice, but I guess she would leave him with a bunch of nudie mags to teach him a lesson.
Look at the sin. Do you see it?
And then while he's looking at it, he'd get chubbed up, start stroking his dick out, lotion on his dick right now, just stroking his shit. He's horny as fuck, man. He's a freak. And she would be like, oh, so you like this? She not just hear what I said, ma'am. You got some good taste, Mom. Basically, she forced him to hurt sinners, or whatever she considered that. And the reason he plucks the eyes out are because those are the windows to the soul or something, and that's where you can see the sin. This movie loves its irony because Tyson, after trying to tase a man who could probably power a small cabin if he shuffled his feet on a carpet, gets the taser turned on him and he gets squished by the safe he so desperately sought out. After Kane's mom reveals the plot, she urges Kane to kill off Kira, and he doesn't want to, and after some back and forth, Kane has his first line of the movie. That's not a joke, by the way. Aside from a couple grunts, my guy's script was a fortune cookie. She keeps yelling at him if he sees the sin, and he responds.
I see it.
And then he tosses mommy into some spikes on the wall. He just misunderstood, Gran. He didn't see the sin, he saw the sign. Figured out the angle, soak a toe up, perfect throw every time. The movie's not over quite yet, but I haven't directly mentioned if this movie is really any good or not. In my opinion, this is a mid-2000s slasher that, at the end of the day, really offers not that much. I would be curious to see how many people love this movie that weren't also fans of wrestling at one point or another. Like, if someone watched this not knowing who Kane is, and were like, that's a classic, I don't know what you see in this film. Even with my bias of being a wrestling fan back in the day, it's not like Kane steals the show. His best attribute is being 7 foot, 300 pounds. And I guess he gave hair and makeup a layup. The movie's not scary. I don't think it's trying to be fair. These characters aren't memorable. Even the policeman, who is the reason we apparently even have a plot, isn't worth a second thought. Oh, I'm missing a hand and I'm ominously horny all the time. Well, you get a job. And on that, the plot setup is ridiculous. I care the least about this, but Kane's mom has been hunting down Williams for 4 years, and once she found her victim, she decided to get a hotel to prep his death, pose as a youth community service, and actively work with the jail? Don't get me wrong, goofy plots can work just fine, especially in a slasher, but while we're on the topic, I guess, I don't love the editing. The best thing this movie's got going for it has to be the gore and the spectacle of the kills. Admittedly, some of them are fun, like the cell phone gag with the ribbit. The granny toss isn't the most creative thing in the world, but you know, anytime someone's lobbed forward stiff side, it's funny. Vegan girl's death is pretty rough too, pun not intended, those are bad dogs. But this was also born in the era of Saw, of Hostel, so it makes sense that this is what it is, it's just not that impressive for me. So I'm sure you're really curious about the ending now after saying that. Kane goes into a little hypnotic state, PTSD, whatever you want to call it, and he starts cradling Kira like a baby. And then Christine pulls up with a gun and apparently doesn't think much of her aim because she refuses to shoot him from a foot out. Instead, she gets up close and personal, you know, let me tickle his ass a bit, rub the barrel on his nipples, and then... Kill him, Kane! Kill them all, baby! But we unfortunately don't get the good ending. Dobrik saves the day, yeah? He is still alive. He whoops on Jacob, beats his ass, even stabs his head again. And after the most epic ambush shortly after, the day is saved. This is a great clip, by the way. That's a good one. One more time. And down he goes. No, I mean, that's a strong man. Let's just beat the dog shit out of Kane a bit more, the script said. And then we get, honestly, not that bad, a CGI shot of Kane goofily falling to his death after getting his eye stabbed with a pipe, which is irony. Well, double entendre, by the way. We're locked. These three awkwardly log out credits. Post-credit scene, the dog pees in his eye as a funny, then real credits. Oh! But there's a part 2, dumbass, where Kane returns after accidentally drinking the dog pee, which had vegan girl blood in it, which restarted his heart. It's the circle of life. I don't know what happens in part 2. I don't even think I ever watched that one, to be honest. And while being honest with you, I don't really want to know. Maybe for a second channel watch. Mr. G-Dubs, subscribe. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Here's your second reminder to please leave a like. Please subscribe because I have more content coming your way. Shout out to my patrons, they're lovely. They're over here doing stuff and things, and I give them exclusive videos every single month that they vote on. Gamer subs, code Mr. GG, 20% off. 10% off, that's a lie. They're gonna get mad if I lie. It's 10% off, write it down. And as always, I am Mr. GG and I am